This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Everybody, thank you so much for coming. Welcome back to the Wednesday Night Chabura, MMM. Thank you very much to our corporate sponsors, Yehuda Fleischer of SEH Security, calling for all your security needs. Thank you, Rabbi Yitzchak Zimberg of Gormiglat for putting this beautiful, ramped up, vamped up spread, as you do every week. Unbelievable. Thank you so much. So they say Chassidish Amaisas and Moifsim about Rebbes, about the Baba Sali. Usually we don't hear them about the Litvische, especially about people like Rabbi Kiveger. Rabbi Kiveger had a bag of feathers that he held onto, kept them very close to him. We know Rabbi Kiveger from Shas, from his Chedushim al Torah on Shas, but little would we know or think that he had a bag of feathers that he kept in his display. And someone asked him, Rebbe, tell me what's with these feathers, these bird feathers? And he said, let me tell you a story. He said many years ago, there was a kid in town, in Shtad, who was deathly ill, pikuach nefashos mamish, and he needed refuah shlema. And he went to the local, to the Sefer calls him the Melech, the king, will call him the king for this purpose. Went to the king and he said, Melech, he said, you're the one in charge, you're in control, you can do anything, help me out. There's a child who, Rachman al-Tzlan, he needs rachamim shamayim, he needs a refuah shlema. What can we do to save him? And the king said, I hear a predicament, I'm so sorry, I wish I can help you, but there's nothing that we can do. So Rabbi Kiveger said, please, you don't understand, he's about to die. And he said, listen, there's nothing to do. A couple of days passed, Rabbi Kiveger was in tremendous pain and angst. How could it be we're going to let this Yiddish soul, this Yiddish kinder, how are we going to let him pass? And he went back to the king and he said, I'm asking you again. He said, imagine it was your kid. What would you do to save this child? He said, this is literally a Yiddish kinder, is as if he's my son. I need to save him. What can we do? And Rabbi Kiveger said, help me out. And the king said, listen, I'll be very honest with you. He said, not only did it happen and not only did I know the cure for this, but it happened with my son. He said, but the problem is that the solution, the resolution, the refuah, there's a bird way out in some exotic remote island. It's kimat impossible to get there without tremendous koiches and money, and you're not going to be able to afford it. You're a rabbi in the city, and it's not happening. You're not going to be able to get there. You're not going to be able to get this. It's a chicken out on this island, and you're not going to be able to. Impossible. Kiveger was disheartened, and he walked away from the king, and he said, okay. He said, I hear. He said, just give me the details. And he said, it's Kach V'Kach Island over here, and this is the chicken, this is how it looks, and you get that bird, and it'd be good to go. But Rabbi Kiveger walked away, and as much as he was saddened and almost miyuyish, we never forget the Koyach HaTfilah. Rabbi Kiveger was made on himself. He said he went home that night. He said he stormed the heavens. Sha'ar Shamayim lo yinalu. Yiddish tear never goes by for waste. And he davened and soaked his tehillim. And after hours, there was a thud on the rooftop. And his son just walked in from learning and he said, what is that? Let's go see. Maybe it's a robber. And Rabbi Kiveger was scared himself and he said, go check on the roof. What's there? Nisei Nisim, Pilei Ploim. It was that chicken, the exact chicken that was needed from the exotic island that fell on Rabbi Kiveger's roof. They took the bird apart. They made a potion. They saved the kid's life. Not the Baba Sali, not a Chassidish Rebbe, Rabbi Kiveger. And he said he kept those feathers in his display, in his dining room, in his study, whatever it is. He probably didn't have any of that, but maybe in his Gemara, as a zichron la'olam, as an eternal reminder, Shari Shamayim lo yinalu. Whatever we need, we feel stuck, we feel up against the wall, but we cannot forget, we cannot let go of the koyach, the potency of tefillah, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu is always listening, attentive to our pleas, to our cries. And Agedekach, the chicken from the exotic island, fell on his rooftop. In this week's parsha, there's obviously a lot of Torahs about Pinchas, but a lot of times the end of the parsha gets forgotten about, and we talk about the carbon tamid, talking about chickens and animals, and we learn this every Rosh Chodesh. Tishmiru la'akrav b'mayadai. Talking about the karbanis. And what does it mean? It says it should be a karban lachmi, it should be a karban for me. Tishmiru la'akrav b'mayadai, which literally means it shall be a continual elevation to Kadosh Baruch Hu. So Tishmiru means it should be a continual elevation to my name. The Sfas Emes has a different spin on this. Tishmiru doesn't only mean should be continual, but Tishmiru can also mean Lashon Shamar. It should be safeguarded, it should be coveted, it should be special, it should be put away. And says the Sfas Emes on this week's Parsha, on this week's Pasuk, Acharotzin Tzarech Lias L'Shem Reach Nichayach. He's talking about the Pasuk over here of what does it mean that it should be Tishmiru L'Hakav B'Mayadoi. What does it mean Tishmiru? Says the Sfas Emes, Acharotzin Tzarech Lias L'Shem Reach Nichayach Bevad U'Lekarv HaTachtoinim L'Elyonim Upirish Tishmiru. What does Tishmiru mean? Not just continuous. Shekol Hayoim Haya Hachana Mirav Atshuka Love Izman HaTamid. Tishmiru means that when the Zman of Tefillah comes, Karbanos these days, how do we fulfill that? How do we access that? How do we tap into the Avodas of Karbanos? It's with our Tefillah. And says the Sfas Emes that Tishmiru L'Hakriv doesn't just mean it should be continuous. Tishmiru means it should be coveted. We should think about it all day. And his words are, Tishmiru Kol Hayom. It should be safeguarded all day. We should anticipate. We should wait for Tefillah. We should be waiting. We should be just excited for the Zman of Tefillah. Why? Because Zman of Tefillah isn't something remote, it isn't something abstract, it isn't some random thing that maybe we can do and maybe Hashem will answer Tefillah. Hashem is there. Hashem is listening. And when we have that mindset, it's a whole different ballgame, it's a whole different avodah. Tishmiru doesn't mean just continuous, but also means shamar. It should be special, it should be something we realize we can tap into. And what is the Ikar Tefillah? What are we davening? Bisman is that? What's the main Tefillah? So, Reb Binus and Eibshitz writes that the Ikar Tefillah, Sheyishmar Oisem Mikol Chet. When we're davening Kadosh Baruch Hu, go walk outside, especially in the summer. There's endless opportunities to fall, to stumble. But when we daven Kadosh Baruch Hu, there should be Oimid b'Nisoynis, there should be Oimid in the temptations, to be Misrachik min Averis, to be Misrachik from Avonis. With that, HaKadosh Baruch Hu should give us tremendous siyata d'shmaya. He should answer our tefillahs. And when we think sometimes, it often happens, we think it's so remote, it's in some random island that we'll never be able to have access to, we can't pay for it, we can't reach it, we can't access it, we don't have the infrastructure to Tishmiru. The Torah is telling us in this parsha, Tishmiru. Make sure it's coveted, make sure it's beloved, make sure you realize it's accessible, and with that, we can access even things that we perceive are on remote islands. HaKadosh Baruch Hu could bring them right to our doorstep, right to our rooftop, right to our table, right to our wallets, whatever it is that we need. The Yeshuas, the Nechamas, the Parnasa, the answers that we need, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu will grant all of those to all of us and answer our tefillos. Mitzvah Hashem, B'Karov, always. Shkoyach.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.